of yield. It had short internodes. It had reduced plant height. There were a good number of spike-bearing tillers. This is the how from tall to dwarf the world was moving. Then this was the Japan from where this, and when USA had occupied Japan, then the seeds of this variety reached to US. So US started developing program on that. Then in US, the Norin 10, these seeds were sent by the advisor to the US. So US distribution system, they distributed to the wheat breeders and then this Vogel. And he developed first semi-dwarf high-yielding variety out of Japan because it was developed in this US. So he developed a high-yielding variety, which then evolved out the variety that is Gaines. So Gaines had a high yield, 14.5 ton per hectare. But there was problem in the Gaines. In the Gaines variety, it had high proportion of sterile florets. Then Gaines was crossed with Norin 10. Then there was this sterility was transferred to Norin 10 brewer hybrid. Then the further selections were done. This you can also study in the history of agriculture, but I am saying that how compared to India, the development was taking place at the international level because it is an international level impact through Norman Borlaug that it reached to India. Okay, so that actually I want to reach to that part. So Norin 10 in US, the work was going on that, different varieties were existing. Then Norman Borlaug started working in Mexico. He got Norin 10 brewer hybrid lines from Vogel. I already conveyed that Vogel was the person who was working at USA. So from Norman Borlaug got those lines, bred lines from Vogel. Then what Norman Borlaug did, he was thinking to have the spring wheat because that was the challenge to have for the tropical countries, the spring wheat. So he had first crossed many varieties. Then he got success in some, but there was some poor quality of grain in some. Finally, he had Norin 10 gene in 10 varieties. This is the and these 10 varieties that are on the screen, that is PTIC 62. Then what happened after that? Now comes the story of India. Then out of these varieties, this Sonara 63, Sonara 64, this Lerma Raju, which was with the this Norman Borlaug. So, Indian scientist M.S. Swaminathan, the father of India's Green Revolution, got these seed varieties for trial in India. So there were the trials at Delhi, Pantnagar, Ludhiana, and Kanpur. So this was the area under this, and this is the yield of those varieties. Then these 4 varieties. So this is how the Mexican wheat reached to India. Norman Borlaug, who was working at Mexico, he was invited to visit India in 1963. And to his astonishing fact, these varieties performed better in India as compared to in Mexico. So from multi-location trials, which were at 4 places, as I told you, in Ludhiana, Pantnagar, Delhi, Kanpur, now there were 155 places selected in the country to have these multi-location trials. So from these, the 2 Mexican lines, Sonara 64 and Lerma Rojo 64 were released. So this is how in India, the high-yielding varieties were introduced. It started with Japan, from Japan to US, from US to, it was the Norman Borlaug, from Norman Borlaug, it reached through Swaminathan in India. So in India, it led to, this is the IRI field, Indian Agriculture Research Institute, where M.S. Swaminathan and Norman Borlaug at that time were interacting. This is the institute presently where from I am delivering this seminar. So you can see these are the main persons behind the Green Revolution. At international level, it was Norman Borlaug. At India level, M.S. Swaminathan. So with this introduction of varieties, there was a tremendous increase in the wheat production. You can see in the graph, I hope the graph is visible on your screen. You can see that from 1971-72, how we could increase the yield. The yield part, you can see it is continuously increasing, although there was not much change in the area. it continued. If you see 1967-68, in case of the wheat, there was the growth of 16.7%. Means the yield crossed to 1103 kg per hectare, 29.5% in production. So this I gave you the example of one commodity. Same way in the rice. If you see in the rice in 1967-68, this on your screen, there was the growth rate of 9.9% in the yield. So the green revolution that took place that time, the need was to have more food production, and it fulfilled its target to have the food for the population that was dying of hunger that time. But the green revolution was to resolve the food crisis. Thus, environmental issues were neglected. This we have to understand that हमको खाना चाहिए, बाकी चीजें कुछ नहीं उसमें एनकम्पोस्ड थी. बस लोग जो बढ़ रहे हैं, पॉपुलेशन जो बढ़ रही है, उसके लिए खाना कहां से आएगा? That was the target. And I showed you this target was achieved. There was the bumper increase in the food production. The journey continued from that 1978 onwards. This journey continued. High yielding varieties were introduced. Farm mechanization took place. Irrigation management practices were introduced. So this journey continued till date. This you can see the yield under major crops up to 2018-19. You see in the 1950, we were having the area under rice crop. It was 30.81 million hectare. If you see in 2018-19, it is 43.79 million hectare. It means it is not even double. So if you see the area food grains, in 1950, the area under food grains was 97.32 million hectare. 19, it is 123.94 million hectare. So it is even not double. But in the same period, 1950 to 2019, now see the food grain production. In 1950, it was 50.82 million tons. In 2018-19, it is 284.95. Now you can understand how many times. It is more than 5 times. Area is not even double, but food more than 5 times. This is how the journey continued. Even if you see the yield of major crops, in 1950, the yield of rice was 6.68. In 2018-19, it is 26.59. You see the yield in 1950 and 2018-19, you compare both the columns. You can see almost in every commodity, whether it's rice, jawar, bajra, maize, all sugar cane, groundnut, there is a not only in the agricultural part, that is the food grains. If you see the horticulture production, even horticulture production has now crossed the agricultural production, that is the food grain production. So this we have achieved till now. So what we can say from the Green Revolution, that India has witnessed tremendous growth in different sectors of agriculture since independence. There is a 5 times increase in grain production, 9 times horticulture production, 9.5 times milk production, 12 times fish. But there were some limits of success that we neglected that time. What was the limits? क्या चीजें थी जो उनको हमने उस टाइम बुला दिया? The first one was that now agriculture is growing, but it is at a slower rate. The Green Revolution that took place that time, it was commodity specific. Today, we have to import edible oil from other countries. We are not having sufficient production in many commodities because the Green Revolution was commodity specific. It was skewed to some commodities. The one more aspect is Green Revolution did not cover whole country. There was increase in such crops, particularly restricted to some area. Like in the Punjab area, there was a high increase, but in case of the other parts of the country, there was not that much impact of Green Revolution. So Green Revolution has not reached to larger parts of the country. The fourth important aspect is that we have to understand that Green Revolution involved environmental costs. We forgot environment that time. So because of that, more fertilizers we were using, the water we are exploiting, the pesticides in the environment is going. So all these aspects continued from that time till date. So this posed the challenge. I'm giving the simple example that these challenges, you see the fertilizer consumption in 1981. Fertilizer consumption in 1981, it was 1 lakh tons. But in 2018-19, it is 274 lakh tons. Means from 1981 to 2020, in a gap of 40 years, even when area has not under production has not even doubled, we have changed our input by around 6 times. We increased the fertilizer use in the agriculture. It is the green revolution. So that's why now is the time for Evergreen revolution. The father of green revolution in India, that is M.S. Swaminathan, says, the path of increasing production and productivity should be in a manner that short and long-term goals of food production are not mutually antagonistic. It means to say that if we are setting some target, this target should not create some other problem. We set the target of increasing the food grain production in our green revolution, but this led to the other problems, the environmental concern. So we have to increase our productivity of all crops without harming the environment. So you can understand why Evergreen revolution. Green revolution helped in food sufficiency, but it created negative impacts on soil and environmental health. We are having multi-nutrient deficiency, we are having the herbicide and pesticide resistance, we are having the greenhouse gas emission, soil health is degrading. These all negative aspects of some green revolution we have to address. That is why we have to think of Evergreen revolution to mitigate these negative impacts of green revolution technologies. That time, high-yielding varieties, fertilizer, irrigation, these led to green revolution. On the other side, these aspects which I taught, that's multi-nutrient deficiency, herbicide and pesticide resistance, greenhouse gas emission, all these aspects now we address. That's why there is need of Evergreen revolution. I will try to brief up about these aspects, that is multi-nutrient deficiency, herbicide and pesticide, what things can be done. Because ultimately it is the own slice on our shoulders, what we will deliver. Multi-nutrient deficiency, this we can overcome by adopting the technologies like integrated nutrient management, like integrated pest nutrient system, crop residue management. Same way, herbicide resistance that was created by blanket use of herbicides. We can overcome this by using the broad spectrum herbicide, broad window herbicide, adjuvants and softeners, or bioherbicides, or we have to introduce the herbicide resistant crops, and we have to grow for integrated weed management system. So these are the aspects that can address the problem of herbicide resistance that has got developed in our crop production system. The third aspect is soil health. For soil health, what we have to do, we have to go for land use planning based cropping, means where which crop to be suitable. Let me give you the example. There are some crops where we are having the rice production, but the water table is going down and down. So those areas, we have to introduce some other alternate crops so that our water, groundwater is not exploited. Same way, we have to introduce the carbon sequestration process. That is in situ management of residues, conservation agriculture, soil conservation methods. That way we can manage our soil that has got degraded. The fourth aspect is the emissions, greenhouse gas emissions. We gave so much emphasis that time toward rice production, but we are having now the greenhouse gas emissions. So greenhouse gas emission we can mitigate by adopting conservation agriculture or by system of rice intensification, aerobic rice, or we can have slow release nitrogenous fertilizers used in our rice cultivation. So these are some aspects of negative things that has been created, how we can address those in Evergreen Revolution that I talked about. With this, we have to introduce some engineering interventions. The engineering interventions are available already. If you see the laser land leveler, it enhances yield by 10 to 20%. So when we are having laser land leveling, it can save our water. It can increase the use efficiency of fertilizer 15 to 25%. These are the results I am presenting from the research. 3 to 6% increase in cultivated area. So when we go for the land leveling, same way we are having the conservation agriculture technologies like turbo seeder, happy seeder. These conservation technologies, we have to now make them disseminated to different areas. This increases the weed sowing by 7 to 10 days, saves the irrigation water. Then we are having the yield advantage. So ultimate aim is that the pressure which we are having on the natural resources should reduce. Our natural resources, water, we are having the soil. So the pressure which we are having on these along with the environment, that should get reduced. So if we introduce the happy seeder, there is the saving of cost of cultivation, and the residue is going back to the soil. So there is the carbon sequestration. The precision agriculture, now that has to be part of Evergreen Revolution. The precision agriculture, now we are introducing GIS, GPS, drones, and UAV systems. You might be knowing recently there was an incidence of that locust control. So for locust control, if we use any other technology, that will definitely harm environment. So that time drone was introduced. That to control those locusts, ministry gave the permission to introduce the drones so that we should have minimum application of chemicals and save our crop. Lot of crop got destroyed that time. So for Evergreen Revolution, precision agriculture technologies are important aspect. We are having variable rate applicator. I told you in the Green Revolution, we had a lot of fertilizer used in our system. But now, when we understood that our soil is somewhere deficient and somewhere it has enough nutrients. So where is the better nutrient status and where is the poor nutrient status? As per that, we have to apply fertilizer. If our soil has already the nutrient status that is good for healthy crop, we need not apply fertilizer. So we have to use the variable rate technology so that it applies fertilizer as per the hunger of our soil, not throw the soil same fertilizer. Same way, the GPS used in farm machinery. So today we talk of these advanced technologies so that there can be permanent compacted layer. The whole area, you need not to go for the mechanization every year. If we have permanent places where through we move the tractor tire, we can have those compacted layer. In other part, it will be uncompacted. So we can have better yield of that field. Then the drone-based input application. Today we are having the technology where we can go for the understanding what is the health status of our crop without actually going to the field. From the remote place, you can come to know that the disease infestation has started in particular area. So you need to apply chemically only in that area. So this has to be also part of our Evergreen Revolution to save our environment. Then there are the agronomic interventions. There is the broad bed planting, speedometer. These are the agronomic interventions, keeping in view what negative aspects we have to address. So this is for the fertilizer management. Today, based upon leaf color chart, you can see that how much fertilizer is to be applied, whether it is the right time to apply the fertilizer or not the right time, which is the main aspect of the precision agriculture. When to apply, how much to apply, in what manner to apply, at what place to apply. So the same way, the green seeker based fertigation. From green seeker, you measure the NDVI value. So you can come to know that whether this plant is healthy or not, whether this needs fertilizer or not. So based upon that, we can manage our resources and we can protect our environment. And it will be having the better yield aspects. We are having the irrigation methods. We are having a sprinkler system, drip system, central pivot system. And today in the field, you can install tensiometer, TDR moisture meter. That will tell you whether the moisture of the soil is so low that you need to irrigate. So accordingly, you can start your irrigation system. So it will lead to saving of water. Earlier, we were having the simple flooding system. We used to give water as much as we want. But now when we have faced the problem, when there is a pressure on our resources, on the environment, we have to think of conserving the resources. We have to target increasing the productivity without harming the environment. So for that, irrigation, we can save the water by using the drip irrigation system, sprinkler system, central pivot system, and applying irrigation only when it is needed. Applying irrigation, how much it is needed, only that much we have to apply. So irrigation is one aspect, advanced irrigation methods, that has to be part of Evergreen revolution. Now, the new areas for the inclusive growth towards Evergreen revolution shifting. I told you the different revolution that was commodity specific. That was restricted to some crops. But now that in Evergreen revolution, the farming has to become a business. Earlier, that you have to feed your family. But now today, we are having sufficient food grade production. We have to target other aspects of farming. One is protected cultivation. We're having the challenge of climate change. So we have to target the protected cultivation under protected structures, conditions, aeroponics, hydroponics. We're having some soil-borne diseases. So today, aeroponics, where there is no use of soil, you need not to put you have to simply supply the nutrients through the medium, liquid medium, that may be water. This plant you can have without any disease that comes through soil. So soil-borne diseases are avoided in this. So hydroponic system will be inclusive part of Evergreen revolution. Recently, Honorable PM, were released 7 biofortified by the ICR. So biofortification is one aspect. We need to now, when we have food, we need to increase its nutritional status so that in place of 200 gram, 50 gram of those nutrients. So we have to think of nutritional stats of the food. So in that, increasing the nutritional stats of millet, seed, that has to be targeted. We are working on this aspect, but we have to go to long way to have the nutritional security of our country. In the biology aspect, we are having the tissue culture, we are having the DNA techniques. Means some characteristics there suitable. I want to introduce in other crop, we are having genome editing technology. So these all also has to be part of Evergreen revolution. We are having the crop modeling, where we can model that whether this crop can be under saline conditions, whether this grow under the cold conditions. This is also the part of Evergreen revolution. The value addition, this is the area very much as a post harvest part. हमारे खेत पे बहुत सारी चीजें जमा होती है, उसमें around there is lot of loss. If we can have a transient story of 3 to 4 days, it will add, but there is lot of loss at the post harvest level. So we have to think of developing different products that can be marketed. That's the value addition we have to do for the Evergreen revolution. Then the precision agriculture. I told you this is the most important aspect of Evergreen revolution, because when there is a precision, there is the saving of input. When there is a saving of input, there is the protection to environment. Chemicals, हम कोई pesticide, weedicide without precision technology अगर हम use करेंगे, it will lead to environmental degradation. But precision will allow us to use only the amount that is required, to put only at the place is required. We have to introduce the precision agriculture technologies in the system so that there can be input saving. If we introduce, so we can have seed saving. If we introduce better seed lead to fertilizer saving. If we introduce variable rate technology, so there will be better saving of inputs. Then the integrated farming system. Our most of the farmers are small and marginal. They are having less than 1 hectare land. More than 80% are small and marginal. If they grow crops like we are having currently, it is not profitable. So what we have to see, we have to introduce the models of integrated farming system where he can have the fisheries, where he can grow the crops, where he can have poultry, where he can have cattle. So all these aspects, holistic approach we have to follow so that it will become profitable venture. एक चीज से जो waste निकलेगा, like if we are having the cattle, so cow dung can be used for the purpose of amending our soil condition. We can have this fishery system, we can have poultry system, this integrated in a way so that one output from one becomes input from other. Ability will increase. But there are challenges to evergreen development. It is not as easy as I say. There are challenges. The challenge is we are having land fragmentation. Today we are having the average land holding, it is less than 1.16 hectare. Today, because of law of inheritance, if today someone is having 1 hectare land, tomorrow it gets distributed into the 2 sons and it becomes 0.5 hectare each. So our plot size is small, our land holding is small. So we have to think of addressing challenges, keeping in view our plot size, keeping in view our land holding. The climate change is posing challenge. Now you see that there is a harsh winter, there is a harsh summer. So those conditions, we have to develop the varieties that can be, that we talk of. We are having still existing in many places monocropping system, specialized monocropping system. So we have to increase the cropping intensity and we have to change that practice. So that is a challenge. The one more is the irrigation potential. Our water table is going down. Where from the water will come? Because of climate change, maybe we will be having less rainy water also. So where from the irrigation will come for those crops? So we have to think of the drought tolerant varieties. That is a challenge. How to bring out those things. Our soil is losing the fertility, so it cannot sustain our crop as we think to increase. So we have to address the challenge of soil fertility loss. The important aspect is changing the human behavior. The human behavior, we are having some traditional cultivation practices. When we are having some traditional cultivation practices, the extension worker has to work lot and lot to change those cultivation practices. That's why we are having currently poor transfer and adoption of technologies. आप देखिए इतनी यूनिवर्सिटीज, इतने रिसर्च इंस्टीट्यूट्स काम करते हैं, कितनी टेक्नोलॉजी डेवलप होती है, बट यू गो टू द फार्मर्स फील्ड पे वही आपको सीड कम फर्टिलाइजर ड्रिल मिलेगी. We are having poor transfer and adoption of technology. We are having better development system. टेक्नोलॉजी डेवलपमेंट का अच्छा सिस्टम है, बहुत टेक्नोलॉजीज हैं, बट उनको कैसे किसान तक लाया जाए, दैट इज अ चैलेंज. Once we address those challenges, then only we can go for evergreen revolution. So summing up all this, what I talked about in this 45 minutes, that first aspect which you have to remember, green revolution was commodity centered. Evergreen revolution is farming system center. We have to change whole farming system, not just one crop. Evergreen revolution is based upon integrated natural resource management and participatory research with farm families. We have to save our environment. That is the aspect of Evergreen revolution. So we have to work in participatory research program with the families. We have to get our techniques adopted at the farmers. Evergreen revolution focuses food security as well as soil health and crop microenvironment scenario. In the green revolution, our need was to have enough food. But now we need to talk of the food security, maintaining the soil health. We need to talk of the food security, maintaining the environment conditions. Conservation agriculture and sustainable agriculture principles need to be promoted. So for evergreen revolution to take place, conservation agriculture and sustainable agriculture we have to promote. Without it, it's not possible. Mechanization and precision agriculture are the driving tool for achieving evergreen revolution. So the agriculture engineers, those who may be present there, you have a role to play. Your future is good because it is the role you have to play. The precision agriculture technologies which you have to develop, the precision agriculture technologies which you have to introduce at the farmers' daily level for evergreen revolution. Integrating farming system approach that I talked about, that since we are mostly small farmers, so for through output farming, we have to develop integrated farming system models for different areas, that this model is suitable for this area, integrated farming system. We have to train village level workers, the capacity building, the training which we need at the village level to adopt new technologies, to adapt to the new techniques and to manage the natural resources. हमने ही उनको सिखाना है कि वाटर टेबल डाउन जा रहा है, कौन सा क्रॉप लगाएं, which is suitable, what is the marketability, the market linkage and remuneration. So the crops which we have to introduce, it should also have market. So we have to think of the market. Otherwise, why farmer will grow a crop which does not have market? So we have to think of the market has to be important. Then the policy, I told you in the 1947, 1950, 1960s, the policy interventions were also there. Credit facility मिल गई, loan मिल गया कि कैसे हम किसान जो है farmers है उसको उस progress का part बनाएं. That has to be promoted at the national level. Then I told you the important aspect of evergreen revolution is environment. So we have to think of giving incentives to the farmer if he is protecting the environment. If some farmer is using the conservation agriculture techniques, some farmer is incorporating residue in the soil to improve our soil health, we have to give him some incentives because that is how the carbon credits of the world are counted. So we have to provide the incentives. I would like to end my talk with the quote that if agriculture goes wrong, nothing else will have a chance to go right. So we have to make agriculture right, to make everything to go right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Pare. Really, this is a very informative lecture for our participants. Sir, due to some technical issues, we were not able to introduce our eminent speaker. Now, I request you, Dr. Ramesh Pal, sir, convener of the seminar, please brief our distinguished speaker. Dr. Ramesh Pal, sir, please.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Pare, presently, he is working as a scientist at ICR, IARI, New Delhi. He has been a meritorious scholar throughout his academics. In his credit, he has received gold medal in BTech and MTech Agriculture Engineering. He has also been awarded with PhD National Award for his best thesis research work. Dr. Pare had several research publications in journals of national and international reputed, and he has also presented more than 40 papers in national and international conferences. Dr. Pare is a recipient of many prestigious award and serving director of e-services, ISAE editor, IASE, e-newsletter and associate editor of Journal of Agriculture Engineering. He has been associated in development of number of technology like power integral equipment, UN applicator, band placement fertilizer applicator, precision paddy planter, and on farm system management technology. Thank you, Rob sir. Dear sir, we feel extremely proud that today you are among us. I'm very proud of you.
Yes, actually, Dr. Ramesh introduced many things, but he forgot to introduce one thing. He is my batchmate. Dr. Ramesh is my batchmate and he is one of my colleagues. So he did not introduce this thing.
Yes, sir.
So, yes. So, yeah. It is my privilege to be there. There also I lost one of the friend, Mr. Sunny Bhatia. So he has been also my colleague. So that was actually the introduction than that what I am doing. Okay.
Okay. Now, I again request to Dr. Pal to proceed the vote of thanks. Dr. Pal, please proceed the vote of thanks.
Thank you, sir. On the behalf of School of Agriculture, Sciences and Engineering, I Dr. Ramesh Pal, a very since thanks to Dr. Rauf Ahmed Pare for this very informative lecture. Thank you so much, sir, for sparing your valuable time with all of us, and we appreciate your wholehearted and benign patience. I am also thankful to Chancellor Sir, Pro Chancellor Sir, Vice Chancellor Sir, Pro Vice Chancellor Sir, Registrar Sir, Director Sir, Additional Director Sir, and HOD Sir for providing support in organization in the event. In also present in my sense, thanks to organizing team. The whole efforts made this endeavor smooth and hustle free. Once again, thank you. Thank you all, and Rob sir especially for you. Thank you, sir. Now I declare the webinar closed. Thank you everyone for attending the patiently.
Thank you, sir. Have a nice day.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Namaskar.
Sir, here one more declaration. I requested to all the participants, please fill the feedback form. The feedback form you received on your concerned or registered mail. So I request participants, please fill the feedback form. Thank you, sir. Have a nice day. Good morning. Good evening, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay.
नीट ने